ago.
Yeah.
I was just sitting and like looking at the sun. It was like such a refreshing feeling.
Very special. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Now I'm just going to be a little bit. Does it have a shear over here? Let's see. Oh. Yeah, no, I happen to be that. In terms of the apartment per se, it's nicer than. I mean, this one has a certain coziness, but it's. This one has like a ravacha.
Yeah. Definitely.
Tell me where you want it, and then I'll put it up.
Are you talking now?
I really hope we get another roommate soon.
Right. Yeah, I hope so too.
I got it.
Yeah. And it's not expensive for such a beautiful place, but it's still to handle it with two people is not really.
Yeah.
No, not.
I mean, it's okay. It's okay. So the first month, it's going to be more expensive. Hopefully, the next month we will have something. It's okay. I mean, like it comes out a little bit more for me, a little bit more expensive than my other place. So I don't feel like I'm losing so much money.
Uh-huh.
But I'm sure that we're going to find someone. And if not, it's very nice to have just one money.
Shalom Rabbi Yosef.
Shalom, Rebbe. I'm just gonna mute myself while I get the setup. Hold on 1 second, Rebbe. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I have no idea if we're. Oh, you know, I'll put on the headphones.
Okay, Rebbe's now the host. I actually have to run. I've got a babysitting gig for my nephew right now.
Very nice. Good. Yeah, for the meantime, I don't know if nobody shows up. I'm not even going to turn on the Facebook until if somebody shows up. Then we'll.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, sure, Rebbe. Okay, thanks.
Judge about the Sunday.
Yeah. We'll talk about it more, I'm sure.
What's in there? David Coco?
Thanks, Rebbe.
Cinnamon cake.
What? Cinnamon cake?
Like
From Kagi? This might be an easy call on this one. There's nobody around.
it's brilliant. To be back here for the I mean, like I know the thing is to do the same thing over and over. I'm
Like what?
Again, do the same thing over, the same work over and over. You're creating this for yourself, please. That's your folks.
I didn't catch. What was that? The fact the moon?
She said,
Yeah.
she knows, like her personal Gehenna is doing the same work over and over.
Okay.
It's just so interesting to back it for this because I'm not like. In the past, it would have driven me absolutely bananas. She decided that she needs to clean in the middle of unpacking. I said, okay, that's your house. And you decided to take
Right.
to pick it. That's not mine.
Yeah. Like we make our own again. Is that the whatever?
That's definitely part of it. You know, I think.
Oh, let me see. I think this one's here.
Yeah.
No, one second. No. What is here? This is gonna make life much easier for me. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely like we kind of just call it ourselves, you know.
A lot of our happiness just depends on us getting out of our own way.
Yeah, it was interesting seeing you. Kind of like. Sorry, you can see why we're could be the time. It could easily be that I'm not getting. You have internet?
What?
You have internet? Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's learn. I sent the thing out. It was even you and me. It's good to get some learning in anyway. Parsha. So nice. You guys are going to catch up with us in terms of the Parsha. So I sent the beginning. I don't know if you have it over there. I sent it. So it's a very interesting. How do we relate to the nations and how they relate to us? It's still kind of one of these mystery things that, you know, you look at world, you know, political scene, you think like what's bothering everybody, you know, like we're not really doing anything over here, and we don't seem, you know, we're not like hurting anybody and coming up with a lot of neat inventions. Okay, whatever. So the Parsha says like Haftarah's Parshas of Shavuot. It says like this: Ami Zochorna Ma Yotz Balak ben Moav Ma Onav Osa Bilam ben Boar. Remember what the council that Balak, who was the king of a nation called Moab, what he wanted to do, and how Bilam responded. Mandas Tzidkas Hashem. You should remember the righteousness of Hashem. Bazara Kodesh. The Zohar says, Lo ahavu yomin min yoma de Israeve. There weren't days from the time that the world was created. Isbaroi Alma. The Yitztorech Hochi Lemahavi Kucha Bricha Bahadayu de Israel. That Benjamin was together with the Jewish people. Okay, he was in except for that time. The boy Bilam, L'sheitza L'sanei on the Israel, that he wanted to destroy. The Lord means the enemies of the Jewish people, and that often refers to the Jewish people, right? When the Talmud doesn't want to say badly about us, so the Zohar over here doesn't make badly about us, but it talks about the enemies of the Jewish people, referring to in a roundabout way to us. But Masha the Haisa as Eis Sorok Akasha Biyos Israel Meolam. It seems like according to the Zohar that this was like the worst time for the Jewish people. Yosem Me'esa Yosem Mitzrayim was in a certain ways worse than they were in Mitzrayim. The Alayam, worse than they were by the sea, the splitting of the sea, being attacked by the Egyptians. The Achar Meiser Ha'egel, after the worst of when they made the golden calf. What was so terrible? What was going on over here? Okay, so we just need to get a general view and understanding of Yesh Livor Bechlalos Be'inyan Bakoshet Balak L'chana Orally as Amazet. What did Balak want when he said, "Curse for me this people"? What does it mean? What did it do? So he's going to take this apart. Ma mashmos shel klola ubracha. What does it mean to give a blessing, to give a curse? What does it mean to give a blessing? He says, the bad people, I don't like them, right? Right? Whatever, people say nasty things sometimes. What's the big thing over here? Of Habir Bezed, Hine Kozman Yisrael, Tvugim B'Hashem. So the rule is generally like this: if we are attached to Hashem, Enkol Umavaloshan Yecholon Lishlod Behem. So this is a very Jewish view of life. When we are connected to Hashem, then we really can't be touched. And that's a view that we have over here in general, and that we should have. And nobody could touch us. Can I tell you a great word? I might have said this word before. This is like a David Vedder word. Even though I'm only seeing his beautiful picture over here, this is like a David Vedder word. But the Maisa, it says in Parshas Ki Savo. No, in Parshas Ki Sisa. So it says a great word. You guys are with me? I'll just keep talking. Just because I like talking to myself. Okay, you got it. I got it. Okay, now.
With you, Rabbi.
Thank you. I got it. Now, it says a beautiful word, on which I might have said before, you might have heard from me. It says, I heard in the name of Reb Zev Leff, that it says that when the Jewish people are told for the first time that they're supposed to go up to Yerushalayim, so they're told that they should go up to Yerushalayim, and all the men are going to go up. Don't worry, right? Don't worry. And the verse says a remarkable thing. And no one's going to want your land when you go up to Yerushalayim. Right? And Rav Zev Lev Shlita asked a wonderful question. It says, what do you mean? What do you mean no one's going to want your land? If Hashem tells us that you're going to go up to Yerushalayim, and I'm telling you, I want you to go to Yerushalayim, that's a very important thing, 3 times a year. And don't worry, I'll give us Shemira, I'll guard the land, everything will be okay, but don't worry. Right? So that we would understand. That means that Hashem His providence is guiding the fact that we will be taken care of, everything's going to be okay. But how could the Torah tell us a remarkable statement about how the neighboring nations are going to think about our going up to the land? We're going to say, well, Yachmod, going up to Yerushalayim. Well, Yachmod Ishitz Hartzochem. No one's going to want to go. No one's going to want to go to the land. No one's going to be interested. They're not going to be interested in going to the land. How do they know? How could the verse possibly tell us such a thing? Who knows what's going to go on in their head? Right? Is this a prophecy that like they're not going to want it? So Zev Lev says a wonderful word, which is kind of like what he's starting with over here, and we'll hopefully try to continue a little bit. The Jewish people, according to the Medrash, were not the first people to be offered the Torah. It says Hashem gave the Torah, was offered the Torah to Ishmael, offered the Torah to Asa, to different nations. And they said, my Kosovo, what's written in it, don't kill, don't steal. No, we're not interested. Right? And then the Jewish people said, Nasa v'nishma, no, we're going to do it. We'll understand it later. Very famous teaching. So they didn't want to, what does it mean? The teaching of this message is they don't want it. They're not intrinsically desirous of doing what Hashem wants. It's not in their system. It's not built into their DNA of like yearning to do it and being dovek to Hashem. So Eretz Yisrael, the purpose of Eretz Yisrael is a place of being close to Hashem. Right? So in the same way, says Reb Lev, that the non-Jewish the nations around us, they didn't want the Torah because be'etzem really, essentially, they're not really connected to it. So Eretz Yisrael, which is really a place for the deepest connection to the Torah, so they don't want it either. Right? The same way they don't want the Torah, they don't want Eretz Yisrael. The only reason they want Israel, right, Medinat Yisrael, is because it's not this nation. That's not what they really want. What they really want is that's the land, some land. But Eretz Yisrael, they don't want. It's way past them. It's way above them. Right? That's the word over here. So we're saying that over here, that when we're really connected to Torah and connected to Eretz Yisrael, they can't touch us. Okay. Because the ease of Yesod Avoda, like it says in Yesod Avoda, B'Shem, Rambam, the Mar in the Bukhim, like it says in the Rambam, Mar in the Bukhim, Shekasher Yehudi Dovuk, B'Shem, Ein Shum Dinim Yecholin Lishal Love. We're connected, then only all the judgments, Chas V'Shalom, they come against us, Chas V'Shalom, they don't stop us. They don't stop us from being connected to Hashem. V'chol HaMakdim, Sula Mikrim, Pagoyim Roim, Shafilu Tzadikim B'Chasidim, Iru Rak Be'eshev Siku Me'advekus B'Hashem. The only time that things go bad is when we're distant from Hashem, right? The famous story, right? The Britzker Rav walked through Europe. Again, it's still one of these stories that it just shows how far I am from real Amunah. But the Britzker Rav, with his family, they walked out of Europe. They said, there's no Nazi that can touch him. There's no German that can touch him, right? There's nobody from the SS. Ein od milvado. There was there's a deep connection with Hashem, and they knew there's no one that can touch them. And they walked out, and then the time when like German soldiers would come close, or a general, whatever, sergeant, they would say, no, we're not thinking hard enough. And then they made it clear to themselves. So that's obviously an extremely high level. At least it seems to me like the high level, right? Ki bezman sheyehudi dovek b'Hashem ein shum mikra yochel lifgo. If he's connected to Hashem, nothing can touch him. V'zeh inyan bracha v'klala. Bracha hi Hadvegus ba'Hashem. That means clinging to Hashem, being connected to Hashem. She'az lo yu'una korah. Then nothing bad can happen. V'klala, he kasher odam menutak min hadvegus. That's when a person is separated from being close to Hashem. The word klala, which you gentlemen could easily know, is from the word halal. Right? The word halal is an empty space. Today in Eretz Israel, an empty space that they build under an apartment, that they build next to the apartment, it's called a halal. But the word halal, a chilul Hashem, means Hashem's presence is not felt. There's an emptiness in this place of Hashem's presence. Right? That's why this chol is weekday, etc. But a chilul Hashem is the same way, so connected to klala. Right? So klala and halal are all related, that there is a lack of connection between us and Hashem at that point. Bezos Yoda Bilam. Bilam understood this concept. Yodeya Das Elyon. He knew how Hashem processes this world, how he relates to this world. And again, this is something that we don't fully understand what this means, but it says that Bilam on a certain level was extremely high, and almost on a certain level was higher than even Moshe. He was, so to speak, the non-Jews' relationship to, like, way of connecting to the highest realms, the way Moshe Rabbeinu Lahavda was for us connecting to the highest realms. Because Moshe represented the internal workings of the conscious of the Jewish people, like it says, the das hi adveikus b'Hashem in general. If you could take this and put it in your pockets, I'm not saying this by all Sforim, but by Hasidic Sforim, for sure, and the Nesivos Shalom says it many times, that the word das, which we usually translate as knowledge, right, means connection. That is how it's mentioned in many places, what das means according to Chassidish thought. As he says over here, the das he dveikus b'Hashem command the East, like the pasuk says, va'adam yoda es chavi. He said he knew chav. What do you mean? He understood. Oh, I know you. No, it means there was deep connection between the two of them. Right. Okay. Bilam was just the opposite. Das the klipa shenyona l'natek Yisrael midveikusam b'Hashem. The das of klipa means that they want to stop us from being connected to Hashem. Now, there's a lot of ways of doing that. We can do that intellectually, we can do that emotionally, and we can do that physically. Again, that's what's going to happen ultimately when Bilam gives an eitzah, gives an advice to Balak to get the daughters of Moab involved, the Jewish people, because he knows that sucks in the Jewish people. That's something that pulls them in, and that will stop their separation from their higher self, right? From their godly self. At that point when they're just connected on a physical level, that separation will make them distant from who they really are in essence. And therefore, he understood that. And when that happens, when a Jew is disconnected, then Chas v'Shalom, the worst things can happen, like we mentioned before. Like it says, the famous Tosas Yom Tov, that says that the terrible pogroms of Tachvatad of 1648-49, of Kelman, of Bogdan Kamenek, Bogdan, his name slipped my mind. Kameninki revolts, right? So he said because it was because of talking, not of talking in shul. So talking in shul doesn't mean just speaking words that aren't right. But talking in shul means I have somebody else I'd rather be talking with than God. That's what talking in shul means, more or less, right? So Benjamin says, you're disconnected from me. So now you are at the whims of the forces of whatever that are out there. And therefore, that's what Bilam understood. That's why Balak sent to Bilam. Even though in terms of sorcery, it says the rabbis told us that Balak was bigger. Like it says in the Zohar. And he knew that as long as the Jewish people are connected to Hashem, nobody can touch them. There's nothing to do to fight them. Right? And Baruch Hashem, our enemies don't really know this. Right? They don't really understand that that's really the main way that we get disconnected. Right? When we are connected to Hashem, right? If our enemies don't understand that, it's a big plus for us. But Bilam did understand that. Balak did understand that. The Kazai Yitzari Leklipas Bilam Shudas the Klipa. That's the idea of Das the Klipa. So Al Yadei Al Yodo Rotzal Nati Katsu Shalom Yisrael in Leos the Vukim Hashem. That was his whole intention. So often, honestly, this is a tremendously helpful line because when you read this part, you wonder, like, they seem like characters out of a storybook, this Bilam and Balak. The idea is they're not. They're a certain personality that understands that the Jewish people are disconnected. You know, if you bring them into the church, you'll bring them into the whatever it may be, that will disconnect them intrinsically from their essence, their spiritual essence, then they could fall away completely. Like it says, Rizal says, in the Shara Psukim, it says, Bilam Nishmas Lovin Harami. Lovin and Bilam were the same neshama. The ayin gam b'targum Targum Yonason says it also. About Goda and Omri we say Lovin bikish lakor is a kol. It says that Lovin, we say on Pesach night, that Lovin wanted to get rid of everything. Shamar Rami Ovinavi Hainu lahavid Misrael as our goshes who Yikreini Avi Ata. They wanted us to make us feel we're not children to Hashem. We're not special to Hashem. In this generation, as we know, so many of us, so many friends, so many people, they feel like they're nothing. They feel like garbage. They feel terrible, right? And that distance is something that they understood. That was something that Bilam understood will be the downfall of the Jewish people. That's what Amalek does that too. Hashem is Baruch Hu Avim. That's the main thing. What the Lovin wanted to do was that, Yaakov, you have a nice family. You know, you have your religion, I have my religion. It's all the same. Right? That's what Bilam wanted to do also. Al Yadei Zeh, Yaakov is a kol. That will uproot everything. She'inat min Hashem is Baruch, because that will uproot them from Hashem, distance them from them. V'zu haisa gamkein mataroso shel Bilam. This is what Bilam wanted also. The Katre Galem, Lemte Kodesh Baruch Hu. Ad she'inatek osam chas v'shalom mimenu yisbarach. They'll distance them from Hashem. They'll be totally pulled away. Therefore, they can't keep going. They asked Rav Hutner towards the end of his life, what's the most important thing to teach Jewish children? Now, he said this 50 years ago, so I don't know what he would say today. It's 40 years ago, let's say. He said, teaching them, Asher Bacha Banim Mikol Amim Benasan Alas Taraso. That is what Rav Hutner said is the most important thing for this generation. I think today, maybe to feel like, you're a Tzelem Elokim, you feel like, Banim Atam Hashem Elokecha. I don't know what Rav Hutner would say today, but at that time, he said that the main message is, Asher Bacha Banim Mikol Amim. We should know that there's a special place that we have in the universe. We should know that that's a special connection that we have, and we have done this for years. And this isn't just like, religious rhetoric. It's the mitzvah of what we've been doing for all these years, been connecting. Look at Amisel. Next time you're in shul, look what people have gone through, and look what people are trying to do in order to learn, in order to daven, whatever. Hashem should help. I'm going to hold it up here, Rabosai, like I mentioned on the group. I'm taking my wife out, so to speak, to a concert online. So this is going to be it. Thank you very much for joining. I appreciate it. Have a great Shabbos, and we will be in touch.
Good Shabbos, Rebbe. Thank you so much.
Shabbos, a pleasure. Good Shabbos, Yaakov.
Good Shabbos. Thanks so much.
Good Shabbos. Okay.